Hello and welcome back to the second episode of Knights of the Podcast, presented by Take 3 Productions. I am your host, Chris Dohmen, and here today we're going to continue talking about that one sci-fi thing that people like, Star Trek, I think it's called, right? Oh, sorry, no wait, Star Wars. My guest tonight, he's a really cool guy. He is a great guy to talk to about film in general, but today we're going to focus mostly on Star Wars, and he is my next opponent in the fan movie trivia schmodown. I'm looking forward to this match. It's been a long time coming. Jonno Stowell, sir, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me on, Chris. I'm looking forward to it. Love talking some Star Wars with someone who shares my love of Star Wars. It's always fun.
Definitely. And so we're going to start off with just a little bit of news brought to us by Star Wars News Net. Great source of Star Wars news, I would say. Just a quick one from the Grammys last night. Apparently, John Williams has now won his 6th Star Wars Grammy for his work on The Force Awakens. It's good. It's great to hear,
Yeah, I mean, I just hope that the Oscars hurry up and give him his Lifetime Achievement Award before it's too late,
Right.
Because I feel like he without a doubt deserves a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Academy Awards. I don't know, what do you think?
Oh, good Lord, the man deserves multiple Lifetime Achievement Awards. He deserves one just for his work on Star Wars alone, but but no, this is good. I mean, sure, you can laugh at the Grammys all you want, but to be fair, they are still somewhat prestigious even in this day and age. So,
yeah.
And even if it's for, in my opinion, the least of the Star Wars scores, it's still a great score. It's just, in my opinion, not as good as the other ones. But
see, that's interesting because I think that the worst Star Wars score. Well, are you including Rogue One in that, or do you mean just the ones by John Williams?
I'm just saying the ones by John Williams.
Okay. Well, in that, I actually think that the worst one is Attack of the Clones. I feel like that. I mean, I think Force Awakens has got a great score. I mean, Rey's theme is fantastic.
It is. And
good stuff.
Definitely. And again, I'm not saying it's a bad score. It just, to me, it's not as memorable as some of the other ones. Like, say what you will about Phantom Menace and Revenge of the Sith. Those scores are so memorable.
I mean, the score. I mean, if you got to think, the battle on Mustafar between Anakin and Obi-Wan, right?
Yes.
But that score makes that whole battle what it is, ba 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 ba, and they're just fighting, and it's got all that emotion and everything. It's just really incredible score. And Duel of Fates, obviously, is one of the most iconic pieces of film music ever.
Very much so. And and so good for him for racking up another Grammy for his work there, and I really hope that Last Jedi can just blow Force Awakens score out of the water. Please. That's all I'm asking here. And
well, I'm sure he'll do an incredible score as always.
Definitely. Now we'll come to another quick piece, another possible addition to the Han Solo standalone film.
Okay.
Another big name actress is coming in possibly to see what she can do, and that is Thandie Newton, fresh off her critically acclaimed performance in HBO's Westworld.
Cool.
I'm not gonna lie, I really hope she can land a role, because obviously there's never too much diversity in Star Wars, and
despite what people say, some say.
Exactly. Then to those ball bags, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
This would definitely be a great addition if they can get her in, I would certainly say.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And I think I don't know, did you see Westworld?
I unfortunately have not caught up with it yet.
Okay, well, what she did in that, I thought she was fantastic. And if she can bring, any of her depth or anything, or even half the depth that she conveyed in that show, I think it'll be a good addition. Now I tell you what, though, we don't know what role she could be. Now, are Disney just going to give her a side part where she doesn't say much, maybe a bit part? I don't know. Or is she going to be very much in the limelight? We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? Actually, I want to speculate this for just a second. Like, what part do you see her possibly working as? Because I would love to see her as like a high-ranking Imperial officer.
That could be interesting. I think what would be nice is if she could be someone. I think what would be really nice, because you don't see this with female characters often, she could be like a gang leader in search for Han Solo after he double-crossed her.
Oh, yeah. Oh, ooh, I like that.
You know, and she could be like this really feisty sort of gang leader, and she could be sort of on the road for like on the lookout for Han Solo. I think that could be quite nice.
No, that's yeah. No, I'm starting to get on your wavelength with that one. That's pretty good. Cheers, indeed. All right. So
also something else that I was just thinking about the other day. I would love if what they would do is in the Han Solo film, if Lando and Han, you saw what bet that was as to why he's now got the Millennium Falcon. I've always thought that would be really cool.
Oh yeah, no, I'd love to see a canonized version of that. You know, because
they didn't make Kessel run. You know.
Well, yeah, no, exactly. I mean, they did do that in the Legends in the books, but they after that got scrapped, it's like, well, now how did it happen? So yeah, you know, and speaking of all the whole Legends and the old stuff, I actually want to turn this over to you now for a bit.
Okay.
Tell me, how did you get into Star Wars?
Okay, well, Star Wars for me is my first memory of watching a film at home. And Star Wars for me is my first memory of watching a film at the cinema. Because I always say you have two first film memories, at home, at the cinema. And it was both for me, for Star Wars. At home was when me and my dad, we sat down, we watched New Hope. And that was when I would have been about 3 or 4. And it's still my second favourite film of all time. And at the cinema, it was when I went to see Attack of the Clones, and I would have been about 3 years old. And while Attack of the Clones is terrible, that did encourage me to go and watch Revenge of the Sith 2 years later, and I did actually enjoy that when I was young. But yeah, so Star Wars for me has just been every first film memory for me has just been watching Star Wars, and I remember just, once New Hope had finished, I was just sitting there like in front of the telly, only about 4 years old, but I was just so captivated, and when you're 4, you shouldn't get captivated about 2 hours of something that just, where you just need to sit in front of something for 2 hours. But yeah, I was just so blown away by everything I was seeing. It was an incredible experience.
And I feel like I do have to ask this because, it's a Star Wars podcast. Prequels, soft spot in your heart, or do you hate them with a fiery passion?
I do hate the prequels with a fiery passion. Absolutely, I do. But Revenge of the Sith is okay. I mean, I say that though. It was on telly the other day, and I put it on. And apart from the Battle of Mustafar, it's not. It's not good. It's just not good. And especially when you watch New Hope, Empire, Return of the Jedi, and Force Awakens, and then you watch the prequels. They're awful. And I'll tell you what, Phantom Menace is one of my least favorite films of all time.
Wow, interesting. No, and that's actually one of the things I really love about Star Wars is literally no two people share the same opinion. The same exact opinion. I mean, anybody who knows me knows that I love Revenge of the Sith, but it's the only one of the prequels I genuinely love.
There's some bad stuff in Revenge of the Sith, though. I mean,
I'll never say it's a perfect film, but for me, the stuff that is good is so good that, you know, I just it overshadows the bad stuff for me.
I mean, here's the thing. I get pretty emotional at Revenge of the Sith. I mean, at the end, Battle of Mustafar, he's shouting, he's like, "You were the chosen one." All of that. It's always, it's pretty spectacular. And also, if when you then watch New Hope, when Obi-Wan and Darth Vader have their little repartee, and they're there, and he comes over. "I've been looking forward to this for a long time. When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master." And then he's like, "Only the master of evil, Darth." You know that all this has been built up years and years of, them trying to get vengeance on each other for that battle on Mustafar. All that emotion, how Obi-Wan left it with him, shouting at him as he was getting burned alive. All that emotion has just built up to this fight. And I think so that sort of enhances, because Revenge of the Sith had a very difficult job, because anything it did could have tainted A New Hope. But it was very clever in the one thing that it did that really mattered. It actually enhanced the battle in New Hope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But also I'm saying that Revenge of the Sith, while I'm not a big fan of it, there's some good stuff in Revenge of the Sith. There's some pretty good stuff. I mean, you've got the... obviously, the Battle of Mustafar, which is the main bit, and I love the battle, the Order 66 when he executes Order 66. Oh man, it's just so much built up there. It's incredible emotion. But then again, there's some pretty bad stuff.
There is.
I mean, one of the cheesiest lines in all of Star Wars is Emperor's about to battle Yoda, and then he says something to Yoda, like, "I'll wipe out the Jedi," or something like that. And then Yoda says, "Not if anything to say about it, I have." And I think that is so forced. And forced, excuse the pun. I mean, no, but I mean, it's just awful dialogue.
Well, luckily, George has finally admitted that dialogue is not his main forte, because
no, he didn't need to tell us that, buddy.
Yeah, unfortunately.
We can tell.
We could tell from that alone. Even though, to be honest, I still love that fight too. Even
yeah.
But so outside the movies, what else did you really get into?
The video games when I was younger.
Nice.
I mean, Star Wars Battlefront 2 is one of my favorite games of all time, and also the new Battlefront, which came out a year or so ago, that I play constantly. I'm a big fan of that. But also the comics I got into as well.
Really? Cool.
Yeah, I'm a big comic book fan as it is. But I thought I'd read some of the Star Wars stuff. But that was more recent, because I've always been a big comic book fan, but I never read the Star Wars ones, like the Dark Horse Star Wars ones, when I was younger. But I've started reading the Marvel ones now, and they're pretty good. But I'd say the main thing that I got into outside of movie universe would be the video games.
Okay, nice.
What about you, man?
To keep it short, because today it's all about you. I pretty much know the entire history of Legends, and I know most of the current canon, minus a couple of games I just haven't.
Oh yeah, I'm saying that I it's not just. That's all I know. Like, I might not have read all the books, but I know a lot of the stuff. I'd say almost all of that stuff. Like, I know all about Revan, and I know all about Bane, and I know all about the Mandalorians and the Old Republic and all that without reading the books. I just sort of keep myself in the know with all that stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. And this is a question that I asked last time, and I didn't get an answer from my guest, but I feel like I could get one from you.
Okay.
What, in your opinion, whether in canon, Legends, or in the films, do you feel like was the biggest FU to the fans?
Oh, okay. I'd probably say Jar Jar Binks.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, we knew we were going to mention him. Or actually, no, I actually take that back because Jar Jar Binks was a character that was put in. That's not so much an FU to the fans. I changed my mind. The biggest FU to the fans was Jake Lloyd as young Anakin.
Ooh.
And Hayden Christensen as Anakin as well. And I'll tell you why. Because we spent years, and fans, spent years watching Darth Vader as the most badass, cool villain of all time. The evilest of evil, the most awesome villain you could imagine, yeah? And then the prequels come out, and we're expected to believe that this little whiny prawn of a kid is going to grow up to be the greatest, the greatest Sith Lord of all time. Now get out of here with that. That's not, and the way he is with his acting, I mean, is atrocious. But I think if you're going to look at the actual character, the way that character was written was just awful. And we're expected to believe that he's meant to grow up to be the greatest Sith Lord of all time.
No, that's I see where you're coming from, but I do have to. I do feel like I kind of have to ask. Is that more from just George's unfortunate not writing that wasn't quite up to snuff with the character, or do you think it was more so the performance?
No, actually, I'm not knocking. Well, I mean, actually, I am knocking the performance. The performance is bad, but I think the reason why I'm saying I think it's a mixture of both, but I'd actually say mainly the writing, because the performance was bad. But if he'd have written a solid character that was likable and we could be on the side of, and we could go, oh, okay, I can see this guy being Darth Vader. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like then we could have excused the performance a bit more. But I think it goes hand in hand with the terrible writing and the terrible performance. Just makes it even more laughable.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
No, that's very fair. So going back to the canon and whatnot for a second, like Rebels versus Clone Wars.
Okay, well, if you'd have asked me, say, a year or so ago, I'd probably say Clone Wars, but Rebels, I think, has really taken off, and I think Rebels is pretty fantastic for everything it needs to do, for everything it needed to do. It did perfectly. I just think Rebels is really tight. You know what I mean? It's really it's really well done. And I do prefer it to the Clone Wars. Yeah. What do you think?
I mean, oh god, see, here's the thing. I love both of them for sort of different reasons. Clone Wars because of how much it expanded the galaxy as a whole.
Yeah.
But then I love Rebels because of how much we're learning about these characters, and we're just learning about specific events that lead to other events that go on in the universe. So it's...
Wait, which clone... Are you talking the 2008 run of Clone Wars TV show, or the 2003, 2005 sort of...
The, no, I'm actually referring to 2008 Clone Wars show.
Right, because that one I think was far superior than the 2003 one.
Really?
Oh yeah, I actually really enjoy the 2008 one.
Oh no, see, I mean, I really love that show too, but I am curious now. Did you actually watch the 2003 Clone Wars show when it came out?
No, I did when I was younger. Yeah, not. Okay. I think it might have been maybe not when it came out, because I would have been about 4 when it started. But I did watch it when I was younger. I watched it before the 2008 run of Clone Wars. So I would have been about 5, 6, and maybe that's, I was turned off a bit by that. But I really enjoy the 2008 Clone Wars. I think it's really great. And the film they did of it, everyone hates. Everyone hates. It's not. I don't think it's too bad. I mean, it's nothing compared to the show, but there you go.
Yeah. And it's actually funny because I somehow avoided that when it first came out. I just didn't have the time, I think, to catch it in the theater, and then I watched it when I watched the show in its entirety, and I was like, yeah, it's not terrible. So, no, that's interesting though, because a couple other people I've talked to, they say that the 2003 show blows the 2008 one out of the water. So that's fascinating. You know, now we've gotten to know Jonno a little bit, and we've gotten to sort of get into what, it makes Star Wars just the most amazing thing ever. We're going to do a little section of the show that I like to call Once More with Feeling, where Jonno and I, what we'll do is we will reenact a scene from a Star Wars film, or a comic, or a book, or whatever of our choosing, and then we'll do it one time serious, and then one time with a gimmick. We don't know what it is because we'll just come up with that part on the fly. If you guys saw the first episode with Manning, we did we turned it into Annie Hall pretty much, so that was fun. But we're gonna do a scene from the divisive Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, my personal second favorite in the whole franchise, but we're going to do the ending battle between Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi. And, Jonno, would you like the role of Anakin or Obi-Wan?
I'll take Obi-Wan.
All right. Now, I will not be attempting to do Hayden Christensen. I will just try to give Anakin a badass voice, so... Liar! You were with him! You brought him here to kill me!
Let her go, Anakin. Let her go.
You turned her against me.
You have done that yourself.
You will not take her from me.
Your anger and your lust for power have already done that. You have allowed this Dark Lord to twist your mind. Until now, you have become the very thing you swore to destroy.
Don't lecture me, Obi-Wan. I see through the lies of the Jedi. I do not fear the dark side as you do. I have brought peace, freedom, justice, and security to my new empire.
Your new empire?
Don't make me kill you.
Anakin, my allegiance is to the Republic, to democracy.
If you're not with me, then you're my enemy.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes. I will do what I must.
You will try.
I have failed you, Anakin. I have failed you.
I should have known the Jedi were plotting to take over.
Anakin, Chancellor Palpatine is evil.
From my point of view, the Jedi are evil.
Well, then you are lost.
This is the end for you, my master.
It's over, Anakin. I have the high ground.
You underestimate my power.
Don't try it. You are the chosen one. It was said you would destroy the Sith, not join them. Bring balance to the Force, not leave it in darkness.
I hate you!
You were my brother, Anakin. I loved you.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do the over-the-top screams. Kind of hard to sell myself getting burned alive when I'm sort of just sitting in a chair.
Yeah. I know how it is, brother. I know how it is. So I think we make a pretty good Anakin and Obi-Wan.
That wasn't bad. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I think we should. We were overlooked for the roles.
Definitely. So now we've had some fun, but you know what? I think we gotta do that one more time with a little something.
Oh, God.
A little feeling here, if you will. Now, I want to redo that scene, but I feel like there's something we could do. There's a gimmick. There's something we can attach to this. Jonno, you got any thoughts?
I don't know. I don't know. I think it's pretty good stuff. What were you thinking? I can't really do impressions if that's what you were thinking.
What about accents?
I can do. I don't know. I'm not brilliant at accents. I can give him a go.
Well, as I was saying, then maybe I'm not gonna lie. I've always wondered what Anakin would sound like with a Scottish accent. So maybe I'll have to let out my inner Highland Brook and see how badly I can embarrass myself here.
Okay, I don't mind. I mean, I'm not brilliant. I mean, do we have to do something to this? I mean, I'm not brilliant.
Not necessarily. It's more just it's just a gimmick for the sake of, being stupid.
But would you mind, but not, because I'm not brilliant at things
no,
like that.
You don't have to.
Okay.
I'm gonna do it because I like doing it, but why not? So let's see what happens when Obi-Wan has to fight his brother, and his brother is apparently from Scotland.
Okay.
He's probably drunk off his ass.
Okay, I got this.
You liar! You brought him along to kill him, didn't you, lassie?
Let her go, Anakin. Let her go.
You wee brawny bastard, you turned her against me.
You've done that yourself.
You will not take her from me.
Your anger and your lust for power have already done that. You have allowed this Dark Lord to twist your mind until now. Until now you've become the very thing you swore to destroy.
Well, who the fuck do you think you are to lecture me, Obi-Wan? I see through the lies of the Jedi. I do not feel the dark side as you do. You say I brought peace, freedom, justice, and security to my new empire.
Your new empire?
Oh, laddie, don't make me kill you.
Anakin, my allegiance is to the Republic, to democracy.
Then if you're not with me, I suppose that makes you my enemy.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes. I will do what I must.
You will try, lad.
I have failed you, Anakin. I have failed you.
I should have known the Jedi were plotting to take over.
Anakin, Chancellor Palpatine is evil.
Well, says you. But from my point of view, the Jedi are evil.
Well, then you are lost.
This is the end for you, my master.
It's over, Anakin. I have the high ground.
Oh, lad, don't underestimate my power.
Don't try it.
Wah!
You were the chosen one. It was said you would destroy the Sith, not join them. Bring balance to the Force, not leave it in darkness.
I hate you!
You were my brother, Anakin. I loved you.
Oh my god, that was awesome.
That's crazy. You had me laughing so hard there, man.
Oh.
So hard, bro.
Yes.
God, jeez. I was laughing pretty hard.
No, I thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime.
Yeah, so with that, that bit of obnoxious fun, I think it's time we start to close this down a little bit. But this isn't the last time you'll see Jonno on the Take 3 Productions YouTube channel, because he is currently the #1 ranked competitor in the Fan Movie Trivia Schmodown League, and he's got a pretty big match coming up. He is up against the guy who is currently speaking to you right now. Jonno, how did this meetup happen?
Well, I'll match what's up, because when I went 2-0, you wanted to take me on, and we had a match organised and everything, and then actually no, I think it was, but we had a match up before I went 2-0. We were both 1-0, so we had a match up, and then I went 2-0, and you were expected to go 2-0, and you went 1-1. Yep. So we had to postpone our match because you felt like you wanted to get a second win under your belt before you took me, or it felt like you should anyway.
Well, actually, it wasn't. Well, actually, it's funny you say it, because it wasn't me who said that. It was literally everybody else in the inner circle who said that. Yeah,
said, "Look, man, don't run before you walk. Take a little step back." So I said, so I said, sure, I'll have a match. I'll wait. I don't mind how long that is. And then when obviously you went 2-1, I thought, cool, let's get this on the road. Let's do this. And yeah, that's how basically tell the tape.
Pretty much. And I gotta say, I mean, obviously, just from having some chats with you, and then from Chris Day's fan movie fights that we were both in, I can tell you right now, I know this is going to be my hardest match to date.
Oh, well, thank you. I do appreciate that.
Because obviously from the get-go, from your very first match against Kyle Durand, I instantly knew, like, oh geez, this guy knows his stuff.
Well, thank you. No, I do appreciate that.
Yeah, man. And to be fair, like that's kind of how my brain works. I'm like, no, I want to take on a challenge. I don't want to face Evan DeGraff every single time. With all due respect to your both teammate, but
no. I appreciate it. Evan's got some work to do. He's a good kid, but Evan's got some work to do. But hopefully, we'll work together and he'll improve. That's what it's all about. And hopefully he'll be getting some more wins under his belt.
Hopefully, but until I believe it's next Friday is when our match gets released, Jonno.
Okay.
When it all goes down.
Yeah. Well, I'm ready.
I'm definitely ready too. Best of luck, sir. And
best of luck, you, my friend.
Thank you. And Jonno, where can the good kids find you on the interwebs?
You hit me up on Twitter at StowJonno, and same on Instagram as well, actually.
All right, and you guys can find me on Twitter as always at my band, Last Shot Redemption, at LSAR Band MN. This has been the second episode of Knights of the Podcast. Thank you guys, and may the Force be with you always.